I'll go into King in Black, number 1. Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman on pencils, JP Mayer on inks, Frank Martin on colors. And guys, this is your main event of the evening, at least for, books that we're covering, because next week, next issues are retro. But this is King in Black number 1. And this is the Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman mega event that ties into their Venom saga. It's been built up throughout all the books in the Marvel Universe. It's finally here. It definitely spins out of Absolute Carnage, which was an event we also enjoyed last year. Knull is coming, and Eddie sends out the call to Cap and the rest of the Avengers that it's time to prep. And he seals Dylan away in one of the safe houses he's found for protection. And Eddie is, his plan is to sit on the Codex chair that Carnage had back in Absolute Carnage and try to control the symbiotes on Earth to fight Knull as the Avengers kind of start evac, and they like a wall of debris of the spare ships and stuff that were left over from Empire to try to slow them down, and Knull's forces just boom, they go right through it. So Knull completely wipes them out. The X-Men show up at one point, totally felt organic for them to show up. You could if you were watching this as a cartoon or a movie, when the X-Men showed up, I heard the 90s X-Men cartoon theme in the head. It was that good of a reveal for me. And they're all kind of buying time as Tony Stark's waiting to send in the big gun, their big power hitter, because they know that Knull is he's got a weakness to lightning and a couple other things. So they're throwing out anyone that might have lightning powers or elemental forces to try to slow him down. And eventually the Sentry shows up. And what happens to the Sentry is the same thing that he did to Ares in Siege, where he gets ripped in half immediately by Knull. And then Knull gets his hand on Eddie, and he's like, "You're not the Brock I'm looking for. I'm looking for Dylan." And he rips Venom off of him, and then drops him off a building. So Knull is the Void, as he says here. And boom, what a beginning of an opening shot here. I'm genuinely excited for this event, and this has a blockbuster feel to me with the way it's open. I didn't have any of that with Empire. I have it here. And seeing the whole Marvel Universe have to get in on this right from the bat, I felt was done very organically, and it flowed really well. It felt like an event that the whole universe was prepped for. And it wasn't just everyone's off in their own corner while this happens. It felt like they were all working together instead of just oh, well, Empire's happening, so we have to do our Empire thing. This felt built up and much more organically placed and paced, for that matter. Yeah, Ryan Stegman, can we put arguably the best Venom artist of all time at this point? We might have a contested agreement on that, or viewpoints, but man, his Venom's great, and he's great on this. He was great on Absolute Carnage. He was great at the beginning of Venom, and it's weird that Venom has now been at the forefront of the last 2 of the 3 big Marvel events, and this feels totally earned and makes sense for the series that Stegman and Cates have have crafted out for this. I really enjoyed the opening issue of this. I'm excited.
It's almost like a meme that Sentry got ripped apart again.
Yeah. But also
the whole thing.
Did he kind of like that he got ripped apart again too?
Yeah, it felt kind of satisfying to see that. I don't know. Poor Sentry though.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's fun. I like it. It feels like a big blockbuster. But at the same time, and this feels bigger than Absolute Carnage in terms of the Marvel Universe, but at the same time, I think this feels more closely tied to the Venom series than Absolute Carnage did, if that makes any sense. Obviously I know Knull just from reading comic headlines and stuff, and obviously he's been teased in things I have read, like Absolute Carnage, Silver Surfer Black, or actually in them, but I feel like I'm missing just a little bit of the threads here, having not read Venom.
Yeah, they built him up in Guardians too. He's been wiping out planets in the background of Guardians. I'm
not gonna lie. I mean, Dan said it kind of comes off as a meme, but I kind of cringed at the entire part featuring the Sentry. The fact that the Sentry is the big Deus Ex Machina that the Avengers call in, number 1, and number 2, that Knull then rips him up, and it's a complete retread of that scene. and I mean Knull, directly acknowledges it. I think it's interesting how, as far as I can tell, I mean Iron Man and I guess Iron Man and Captain Marvel. I don't know who else. They're somewhere off, still around. But it's kind of low key set up that Spider-Man kind of has to save the day as we move into the next issue. I think that's where we'll probably go, which is similar to Absolute Carnage, where Kate's made it more of a Spider-Man and Venom book, which I think is a smart move when you take it to an event level title, for sales and for wider appeal.